All right. You love waking up on the right side. Kevin Miller in the morning here, KIDO Talk Radio. Coming up, we'll talk to our friend Thomas Munns. Tom, hang on. We're going to get to you. In addition to that, the president's big announcement declaring a national emergency. Bring it on. It'll be a great time and a wonderful way to start the weekend right here on 107.5 FM, 580 AM. Joining us now is John Michael Chambers, author of Trump and the Resurrection of America. We appreciate his insight on this historic day. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
So your thoughts on the president declaring a national emergency, expecting to do that later on this morning?
You know, I've written over 350 articles on my website, and some weeks ago, you know, I think most of us who were paying attention saw this coming. So it's no surprise to me, and I think it needs to be done, and I'm happy it's happening.
Well, when you have compiled this book on the president, when you've studied him, when you've researched him, when you've analyzed him, what's your takeaway? I mean, it's a pretty heady title, Trump and the Resurrection of America.
Well, you know, as I talked about in the book and again in my articles and such, we've been living to an extent for many years now in a post-constitutional government. And this is now being exposed with the election of President Trump, as we're seeing on the subheadlines today. The subheadline would be the McCabe story, the deep state trying to create a coup d'etat against our duly elected president. So, you know, the book has good standing because the book addresses the actual battles that we've been facing and who the enemies of Trump and who the enemies of freedom are. And but, you know, the good news is we are beginning to resurrect America, you know, one piece at a time.
So what do you make of the recent conversion of the House from Republicans to Democrats and, of course, the overwhelming media narrative against him, sir?
Yeah, well, listen, we can talk about the media against him for a couple of hours. But, I mean, look, you know, disappointing, sure, on the loss of the House. The Senate is probably more important. We got that. But the trouble is the rhinos, if you'd like to use that term, are working against the president as well. So the deck is stacked against him. In terms of the media, you know, they're part. I call the media really part of the deep state. It's the deep state mouthpiece. It's to a large extent, not all media, of course, is controlled. The talking points are controlled and geared towards the left. So we live in the age of fake news and propaganda and half-truths and outright lies and just agendas. And but it's backfiring. It's backfiring on the enemies of Trump because we just continue to add to the column all the things that the president promised he's slowly but surely accomplishing. And a great website for your listeners is promiseskept.com. It's an official Washington, D.C. Donald Trump website of everything he's accomplished since he's been in office against all this relentless, most often baseless adversity.
Speaking of adversity, what's the president's biggest challenge?
The deep state, and all that entails. You know, we use the term drain the swamp. The swamp is very deep. It has been for a long time. But again, it's miraculous how much he's accomplished in spite of it all. But that's the biggest threat. Ignorance is part and parcel with that as well, the ignorance of some of the American people. And I'm quite frankly thrilled with what I see happening on the ultra-left inside the party with the new Green Deal and all these things we see unfolding on the news. I don't agree with any of them, but I think that, like the Art of War author Sun Tzu said, you know, when your enemy is destroying themselves, just leave them alone. Let them have at it. And that's what they're doing on the ultra-left, in my opinion. And I think you're going to see a wave of Democrats moving away from the party come 2020 and voting for Donald Trump, albeit perhaps in the closet, but they're going to be voting for President Trump.
Who do you think he's going to run up against?
That I don't know, because, you know, they trial balloon a bunch of people early on. The cast of characters that I see before us today, bring it on. I don't believe from what they've shown us, who is running and who may be running, I don't see any formidable challenge whatsoever in front of Donald Trump. I don't think anyone can beat him. The only thing that would turn out a loss for Donald Trump in 2020 would be another rigged election. But that perhaps is for another day to discuss.
Well, you're a Ron Paul guy.
You know, yeah, I mean, I supported Ron Paul. back in the days because he was although he's a Republican and leaned libertarian, he was an independent voice that was trying to restore our constitutional freedoms and our the Bill of Rights that have been slowly but surely nibbled away at. And yeah, so I supported Ron Paul. I didn't agree with excuse me, his entire platform, but be that as it may, Ron Paul will be very, very happy come later 2019 and 2020 as President Trump and members of Congress take on the Federal Reserve, because there's H.R. 24 and 25 ready to go. And I believe we're going to see some big challenges in the area of the Federal Reserve, which again would make Ron Paul very happy. He tried 30 years to get them audited. I think it's coming a bit down the pike now.
Why should people buy your book?
Well, you know, those that are supportive of Trump, the 63 million of us, and truth be told, it's far more than that, they will realize that they're not crazy, they're right, and they may also, I go a bit deeper than you know, many of us are aware of, so it'll be really quite an awakening, an inspiring book, understanding the true challenges, that we face. As far as folks that aren't supportive of Trump, should they get their hands on the book, they may use it for firewood, especially up there where it's cold. But some of them may start to see the light. So the book is really a wake-up call, you know, to motivate and inspire people to come together in our hour of need and help this president get this country resurrected, because that's really what we're doing.
Mr. Chambers, we appreciate you. You have a great day, sir.
Frank, thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Tom Munns, thank you for your patience here on KIDO Talk Radio.
Thanks, man. Well, I know that it would be too presumptuous of me to think I could get equal time for yesterday, but
equal
I know
time
you know
for yesterday. What do you mean? What do you mean by that?
Well, I mean you did me well yesterday. I think you should have slowed me down in listening to it, though.
Look, when Tom Munns is on fire, I get out of the way, bro.
Yeah, I know. If you just let a guy hang himself, right? I get it. So, you know, Mark was on there. I thought he did a stellar performance. He's
Mark
very
Meckler from the Convention of States, yes.
Yeah, very, very nice guy. Met him, and he's got a great resume. He's a brilliant speaker. He doesn't go off on rants on tangents in the morning. But I had a couple of things I wanted to say about that, if I may, and that is to consider the alternate side of what he said. I've been in Idaho for 30 years. I'm an Idahoan, and I'm concerned about Idaho. I think I've been pretty consistent in all of my time that I've ever lived here. I've invested all of my time in Idaho, and my question is why Idahoans are so easily led to be able to believe somebody that is coming without even challenging their agenda, if you will, if one does exist, and I'm not saying one does, but why can't somebody be trusted? So he's an attorney, and I'm not, but is it possible that somebody might possibly understand something in a way that maybe nobody else does? So who really knows his motives? He seems like a nice guy and all of those things. And the other thing too is I want to be careful here, but hasn't America or other countries for that matter, when they trust a man without understanding the issues, led us into trouble before? I mean, we had people that trusted, we wanted to trust Obama and Bush and FDR, and foreign countries wanted to support dictators because the man said the right thing. Meckler says that he has respect of our legislators, but we had one of our own legislators, a pride and joy, if you will, true to liberty and time-tested, exposed the fraud, and it was ignored by the people who want to trust some guy from out of state because he has the backing of neocon talking heads. And isn't that inconsistent? I mean, the average American has no idea what a neoconservative is. And I think so my consistency in everything that I've done, I think, should be something that people should consider. I've been as active as possible. You know that, ending up becoming employed by and trusted by the longest standing education in action liberty organization in the country that when you look has never been wrong on an issue in 60 years. And hasn't anyone realized that more times than not, smears are actually used to cover the truth? I mean, that's more evident now than it's ever been.
Why are you fired up about this? I mean, so we had Mark Meckler on. Holly called in and said he was full of it. Other people have gone back and forth. I mean, we have people on all the time. And we have you on, and we support you, Tom.
this is a very important issue, and can I make a couple of points, please, if that's all right?
Well, I mean, Tom, you've been on for 3 minutes, and I'm still I'm asking you a question. What's the problem with having Mark Meckler on?
There's not a problem with having him on. I just want to be able to share the alternate perspective by countering a couple of points he made yesterday that I think are really important. I think you probably gave him 15 minutes yesterday, didn't you?
Tom, he's a guest that we book, yes.
Well, okay, can I be a guest now, and you can book me, and then I can talk
right.
about that?
Hold on, Tom. Then you'll have to send me an email. I have no problem doing that, but the issue I have is we're continuing this conversation, which is great. We can set up a debate between you two. We can do that, but it's, we've moved on from that. Today we're talking about the emergency declaration by the president and Coulter. It's great that you want to bring that up. Look, if you want to come in, have I ever had a problem having you on?
No, I haven't been on. I haven't been in a while. So, all right.
How about here? Let's do this and hold me accountable. We will have you on within the next few weeks, and I want you to do me a favor, promote it to all the Tom Munns fans. We'll promote it here, and that way you can get all your information out, and we'll roll from there. And I still remember when you brought in the Black's Law book when we were prosecuting Liberal Steve. That's how much I care about you, brother. Remember that?
Yeah, I do. Well, I mean, I can't deny that opportunity, and I'd gladly accept it.
I mean, you're traveling all the time, but with respect to your schedule, we will do that.
Okay. Yeah, that's great. And, I mean, I can do it on the phone if that works, too. And I can't believe we're talking about this on the air. But anyway.
No worries.
Well, sorry to derail you. I got a little interested in that, and I believe that there's a lot of misinformation out there, and I just want to share my perspective.
You never have to apologize for being you. I'm a big supporter of you. Whether you and I agree or not, I'm a big fan of yours, sir.
All right, man. All right, well, I'll be in touch, and thank you, guys. Have a good weekend.
Thank you. All right, Tom Munns. I'm getting myself deeper and deeper. I'm going from Tom Munns to Max in Garden City. And the first thing Max is going to say is, why haven't you returned my emails? Why am I not on Idaho Insights? Why aren't you promoting me? By the way, Max, good morning. You're on KIDO Talk Radio.
I don't know if I should thank you or slap you. Good morning, my friend. But as far as calling me and emailing me, I stopped wishing upon a star a long time ago. When you wish upon a star, makes no difference where Kevin and you are, because you'll never be there. Anyway, buddy, I wanted to talk about the president and signing the bill. So many people I talk to, especially the airheaded snowflakes that seem to abound in my neighborhood, this is not rolling over. This is not surrender. This is a part of the great negotiator's tactic, because what he's defending us from is simply not just invasion. And we're being invaded. Is there any doubt that we're under invasion right now?
Not in my book.
No, but who's invading besides MS-13 or the unsightly elements and the occasional innocent person? Who is really invading our country? Let me tell you, future voters. The Democrats aren't stupid. They don't just say open borders for the sake of open borders because they have their walls. They want to bring in millions of illegals that they can turn around and hand citizenship to at the earliest convenience, and that will secure a Democratic base for decades to come. Oh, my family and I came into America. We were illegal, but the President Obama, he gave us citizenship. We got ahead of the line of the people who'd lawfully applied, of the people who waited for years, and we became citizens, so we'll vote for his people. Am I off base? Am I wrong?
I was just trying to figure out the accent.
Well, I don't want to get in trouble for being prejudiced or biased, so I tried to come up with a neutral accent. I didn't say, hey, senor, we got citizenship.
No, we're not going there. No,
I can't say that.
Right.
We're not going there. No, that's what I'm saying. I'm not going there. But you asked about the accent. You opened the door, my friend.
I did open the door. My bad, Max.
Listen, you're doing a good job.
Oh, boy.
Keep up the good work. And perhaps one day,
yes, sir,
wishing on a star will bring something.
Yes.
Okay, buddy, listen, you're doing a good job. Keep it up. And everybody out there, remember, our president isn't stupid. He's got something in mind. Let him declare his emergency and fight all the demagogues. We will remain free. We will remain strong. And it's a bright future ahead as long as we get off our butts and do something, like vote.
Thank you, Max.
All right, buddy. Thank you.
Thank you. And remember, we're still here. We're still here. You're listening to Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio. That optimistic moment brought to you by Ann Coulter. She was on with our friend Lars Larson last night, right after Sean Hannity. Weeknights 6 to 9 on 107.5 FM, 580 AM KIDO Talk Radio.
He's prepared to sign the bill. He will also be issuing a national emergency declaration at the same time. And I've indicated to him that I'm going to support the national emergency declaration.
The fact of the matter is, this is not an emergency, and the president's fear-mongering doesn't make it one. A policy dispute about our southern border does not constitute a national emergency.
Where we go from here will be for us all to honor the Constitution, especially Article 1, especially the system of checks and balances. We will not have an end run around the Congress of the United States.
My primary concern here is that the Congress hasn't done its job. They've left the president having to figure out how to handle this and how to secure the border of the United States, which is fundamentally our duty as a sovereign nation. He shouldn't be in that position. But if the president signs this bill, this very bad bill, then I believe he might actually undermine the very emergency that he's trying to declare.
And with analysis and commentary, Terrence from State College, Pennsylvania, here in Idaho on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Terrence.
Good morning, Kevin. My advice to everyone out there, take a breath, chill out, because it ain't over till the fat lady sings. And we do have a remarkable negotiator sitting at the top, our current president, Mr. Trump. Now, if we all think this is over, I beg to differ. I assure you he's right in the thick of it. He will stay in the thick of it. And he, Kevin, you and I both know, he has fought through this so well in advance. He has other plans. And if we sit back and look at it, okay, what was it? A month ago, we had the military come out and say, yeah, by all due rights, the president can order us to build a wall. Yes, we have the money here available for that if there's a national emergency. And we keep going down the line. He's explored all options. I'm not sure why he got the advice that he did and signed this. Maybe he's saying, okay, well, at least we'll take the $1.36 billion, but we know where to get the rest of it. I was looking through the funds that he would be considering last night on Zero Hedge. He has a lot of funds available, and whether he can get his hands on them or not, I would think that he already has a plan to do that. So I think everybody take a breath, trust your leader at the top, trust but verify, and definitely keep the powder dry, though.
Well, what do you make of the Ann Coulter comments that we aired last hour? She was pretty rough.
Well, Ann, remember, and I've followed Ann for years, and I think she's an extreme firebrand, and in many respects, even more so than our current president. So I think that she might be a little disappointed that he didn't come out swinging harder. And, it doesn't matter who I talk to. It seems like the big disappointment here is the fact that we have Democrats who have absolutely committed treason are still walking around free. So there's a lot of disillusionment, in the conservative community because that hasn't happened. And they're saying, well, why hasn't the president got that done? Well, the only mistake he made was putting Sessions in. And Sessions I don't think he had the backbone that was required, or either that or maybe they had something on him and he didn't want the world to know about it. I don't know. But if there's one thing I know about Mr. Donald Trump, he will continue to swing. So I think we can just all relax, take that breath. We'll see what happens here. And Kevin, you know as well as I do, this is not a president that just lay down, roll over, and take it. He's not going to let it happen. He will fight to the end. Now, what we really need to think about is all you Romney supporters out there, haven't you had enough of him stabbing us in the back, and you still want to support that man? Socialized medicine in Boston. We keep going down the line. So these rhinos, you better get your sights on them and give the president some breathing room and cover his back. Now I feel better, Kevin. What say you?
What say me? We've been with the president. The president has done something historic by winning. The deep state wants to destroy him. Ann Coulter makes some pretty compelling points, though.
Yep.
I mean, tough to argue with Ann Coulter, but you got to pick your team. You know what I mean? You got to pick your team.
I don't think she's left the team, Kevin.
Well, no, she's left the team. She's left the Trump train. You
think she's totally off?
Oh yeah, she's totally off. Yeah.
Okay, we'll see. There's so much division in this country, and once I use that word division, get rid of the rhinos. Stop supporting them. They are part of the swamp. For some reason, we've been allowed to believe that the swamp is only Democrats. Whoa! It's never been that way. It's been always those that have colluded together in order to achieve, socialist program. And Romney, going down the line, it's all part of it.
Well,
yeah.
Terrence, we appreciate your passion, sir.
No, Kevin, I appreciate yours too, and every effort that you give and every breath that you take and every day that you get up and make that drive through the mayhem to get down into town. And once again, you do a great job. But
I walk alone where once we wandered.
Yeah, I'm going to say one more time. You know what I say? If it gets down to it, we will release the Kraken. End of that story.
Fair enough, Terrence. You take care.
You have a good one.
All right, Terry from State College, Pennsylvania. You're listening to 107.5 FM, 580 AM, KIDO Talk Radio. Kevin Miller in the morning. Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. Don't forget to sign up for our newsletter. Catch all the action happening nationally, internationally, and particularly here in the Treasure Valley with our newsletter. Check that out at KIDOTalkRadio.com. Phone numbers here, 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Coming up, much more of your phone calls about the issues that matter to you. Of course, KIDO Talk Radio is your proud home for Fox News on the radio, and part of, obviously, being a part of Fox News, we get a chance to talk to some great correspondents throughout the country, and whether we're talking cars or anything else, it's always great to talk to our friend Jeff Monasso from the Chicago Bureau. Mr. Monasso, good morning.
Hey, good morning to you.
Good to have you with us here on KIDO Talk Radio. So Ohio reintroduces heartbeat abortion bill as new governor vows to sign it into law. Can you give us the background, sir?
Yeah, so Republican lawmakers in Ohio are pushing this measure to ban abortions at 6 weeks. That's once a fetal heartbeat is detected. The latest version of the so-called heartbeat bill introduced in the GOP-controlled Senate Tuesday and the GOP-controlled Ohio House on Monday. It would make it a fifth-degree felony for anyone to, quote, knowingly and purposefully perform or induce an abortion on a pregnant woman before determining whether the unborn human has a heartbeat, unquote. A similar measure approved by lawmakers was twice vetoed by former Governor John Kasich. He called the legislation too expensive to fight and saying that it would ultimately probably be found unconstitutional. But the new governor, as you mentioned, Mike DeWine, has indicated that he would, in fact, sign it.
Boy, that certainly will be getting a lot of people's attention in lieu of what has happened in other states concerning this very controversial issue.
Well, Iowa's 6-week abortion ban was temporarily blocked last summer by a judge who called the law unconstitutional, though it's working its way through the courts. And like Ohio, eventually will wind up being decided by the U.S. Supreme Court. Mike DeWine and others have said that that's where they want it decided. Ohio's Planned Parenthood chapter condemned the bill's reintroduction, saying the early introduction of SB 23, they're calling it unconstitutional 6-week abortion ban, highlights the misguided and dangerous priorities of Ohio state legislators, though anti-abortion organizations praise the bill, saying that Ohio has the opportunity to protect the most vulnerable in our society by enacting the heartbeat bill. So it's a battle on both sides. So there are opinions on both sides. This thing's going to the Supreme Court ultimately.
And since you're in Chicago, you've got the police local story there questioning the alleged attack on the Empire actor. Is that a big story there?
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's a big story all over the place. Was it a hoax or not? More questions surround last month's alleged racial and homophobic attack on Jussie Smollett. Chicago police say that reports that it's a hoax are right now unconfirmed by case detectives, though law enforcement sources tell Fox News that the alleged attack appears to have been scripted. Police also say the two men seen on grainy security in pictures and identified by Smollett as his alleged attackers, they have now been ID'd and remain in police custody for questioning. They're also black. They're also friends of Smollett and have appeared on Empire as extras, according to their attorney. There are local reports here that Smollett and the two men staged the attack, allegedly because Smollett was being written off of Empire, though something 20th Century Fox so far has denied. So a lot of questions here. I think this thing will either break wide open here in the coming hours or days, or it won't. It really all depends on, I think, these two people who are in custody talking. They're not under arrest, but they're talking to police. They continue talking to them, and a possible confession by Smollett if he's going to give one.
Jeff Manasso, we appreciate you. Thank you, sir.
You bet. Thank you.
All right. Phone number is 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Once again, 60 Minutes getting a big scoop. They have fired former FBI Director Andrew McCabe. He's speaking out. And remember that story about Rod Rosenstein, that Rod Rosenstein was not was joking when he joked about the wire and going after the president and the 25th Amendment? According to Andrew McCabe, he wasn't joking. He told CBS this morning.
How long was it after that you decided to start the obstruction of justice and counterintelligence investigations involving the president?
I think the next day I met with the team investigating the Russia cases, and I asked the team to go back and conduct an assessment to determine where are we with these efforts and what steps do we need to take going forward. I was very concerned that I was able to put the Russia case on absolutely solid ground in an indelible fashion, that were I removed quickly or reassigned or fired, that the case could not be closed or vanish in the night without a trace.
And here we have it, the Russian probe. This is how it began with disgraced Andrew McCabe and the Steele dossier and everything else. Andrew McCabe wanted to stick it to the president. And even more concerning, the talk of the 25th Amendment being used to go after the President of the United States. Andrew McCabe, the Steele dossier, everything else. And these bureaucrats discussed removing the president from office. This is serious stuff. This is the deep state. This guy's out writing a book and bragging about this stuff. Rod Rosenstein, who's going to resign, thankfully, or retire, didn't joke about wearing a wire against the President of the United States. And the president is the guy that's under attack, under siege. Crazy. Doug in Mountain Home, Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Doug.
Good morning, Kevin. Yeah, I just turned the radio on, so I ain't caught what. Has he signed it yet?
No, not yet.
So what was Ann Coulter frothing at the mouth about, if I may ask?
Well, Ann Coulter believes that he will sign it, feels the deal is bad, and it's bad news for America, and we've just sold out the country.
Oh, got you. Okay, well, I'll tell you what, I agree with the guy that was just on her. He's got an English accent. Is he from around here, or is he who is he, Kevin?
The guy that was just on a minute ago from Chicago, Jeff Manasso?
No, the other one. It sounded like he had an English accent.
John Michael Chambers?
Yeah, where's he? What's he do?
He writes books. He wrote a book on Trump. He's out of Tampa, Florida.
Okay, because, I mean, a lot of stuff, I mean, you guys have heard me say it. I feel exactly what he's saying. I mean, this guy has been battling this. Our president has been battling this by himself, period, except for a handful of people like, the senator out of South Carolina or North Carolina, Lindsey Graham. I mean, I don't even see Crapo or Simpson or Rich or none of them. I don't see him up there batting for him. You never see him on TV. You know, you never hear him on the radio, Kevin. He's been battling this himself, and people want to downgrade him and get rid of him, and like Ann Coulter because he's going to sign this. I don't get it. What's better than him? Mitt Romney? That guy them guys need to be, I don't know, they need to be ousted out. They need to be like whoever was just saying that about treason, and it's right. And they're getting away with it. I mean, just like what you were saying about the 26th Amendment. Are you kidding me? And they got all the evidence they need against these people, and yet they're still, Rod Rosenstein might retire and get paid for it? What in the hell is wrong with this country and people that we haven't came up all together and went and stomped their freaking you-know-whats and got rid of them and threw them in jail, hung them on poles, whatever. I don't care. I mean, it's getting just stupid. I've said enough. I mean, I know I get really freaking, yeah. I'm sorry.
We love the passion. Thank you, Doug and Mountain Home, for listening to KIDO Talk Radio. Back to the phones. We go to James in Boise with Kevin Miller. Good morning, James.
Good morning, sir. I had a comment on the national emergency that's looming. I'm opposed to it, not because I don't think it shouldn't be done. I think there's a better way to do it, because I think it's not going to be effective because it's going to get bogged down like a travel ban and other things. By the time they release it, the election's going to be in full swing, and they're not going to do anything with it. I think he should deploy the military and have them work it. That's at his discretion, isn't it? He doesn't have to get congressional approval to deploy the military to build it. When I was in the service, we had to build fortifications in Iraq around where we were. It would work just as well as a wall, big barriers and things.
Well, I believe the president is going to do this. I don't know why he doesn't use the combat engineers or the Seabees or what have you, but this is the way to go. And you talk about, this deal and the what do we call this, the emergency that he's going to declare. Well, the Democrats, this is what you get, Democrats. You didn't give him the funding. You didn't work with him. You decided to stick him up, so he's fighting back with the only tool he has left available.
Well, could they fight him if he tried to deploy the military? That's my question. I mean, I know that they can fight him on the national emergency, but I don't know if they could fight him on using the military to do it.
That would be an issue as far as funding and such. I'm sure they could fight him on just about everything.
Well, if he uses the military, they have their own budget. Instead of using, trying to take money from other places, the military has their budget that's already allocated to them. Use them as a deployment. They'll get per diem pay. They'll get money as a deployment deployed in this country and work around it.
I think the military is limited to what they can do in this country. As our friend Terry is saying, posse comitas.
Well, I mean, I'm not necessarily opposed to national emergency in the sense of I just think it's not going to work. I think they're just going to bog him down and keep it, up in the air, and nothing's going to get done with it.
We shall soon find out. James, let's see if someone answers your question. Thank you, brother.
Thank you.
Thank you. Again, proving once again that we have great folks listening to this program. Why not just send the combat engineers? Why not send the Seabees down there and build the wall and take the funding from the military? Of course, when the president does declare a national emergency at 580-5436, 580-KIDO, we're going to have people screaming and yelling and lawsuits galore. By the way, kids, learn a second language. Go to law school. It's the Gilded Age of litigation. Coming up next, Andrew McCabe, the disgraced, fired former FBI director, says he and his deep state colleagues talked about removing the president from office, and Rosenstein's offer to wear a wire was serious. We'll talk about it next. Kevin Miller, join the conversation now, KIDO Talk Radio. Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. So they were trying to get rid of the president even before he got into office. It's what we've been talking about. Sean Hannity's been talking about. Lars Larson has been talking about right here on 107.5 FM, 580 AM. Let's go back to the phones. We go to Brian in Meridian with Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Brian.
Hey, good morning, Kevin. How you doing?
Good. Go ahead, please, sir.
Hey, so in reference to what the gentleman just said here before about, just having the military do it, it's not against posse comitatus to be able to have the construction battalions go down and do that. You can call it a training exercise, do whatever you want to get around that. The issues with the budget, they don't. The Defense Department doesn't have an extra $5 billion laying around that they could scrape up to build the wall. They would have to shift it from other projects and that kind of thing, and that's likely to get tied up in Congress because Congress appropriates the budget for the Defense Department. So that would be a non-starter in that regard. But I heard on Lars the other night, this guy called in and had a really good idea. He said, why doesn't the Texas governor and the New Mexico governor or Arizona governor, these new, the conservative governors down there, declare states of emergency? Then Trump could then send funding and support to build the wall. Under that, guys, and the Congress can't do anything about it. That, to me, seems like the best way to go about doing it.
Well, I think we're going to use any and all means necessary to make that happen.
I don't like the declaring an emergency thing because I think what that does is it's almost like when Obama was using executive fiat. It sets a precedent that whenever a president wants something done, they just declare an emergency and make it happen. That's not really what our republic's designed to do. So I'm not in favor of what he's doing there. I'm in favor of what needs to be done to, protect the country and protect the border, but you got to do it the right way. On a final note, when are you going to get Lars over here for a cigar night? Cigars with Lars, eh?
We'll add that to our list of things to do. He's going to be in Washington next week, but we are working on that.
Right. All right. Well, take care.
Thank you, Brian. Appreciate you.
Take care.
Cigars with Lars. That's a great idea. Let's go to Michelle in Nampa with Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Michelle.
Hi. Hey, the gentleman just right before me kind of summed it up for me. I was going to say, if we use military money, it's going to take away from a real emergency, which I don't personally feel this is an emergency. I feel it's a problem, but not necessarily an emergency. That's open to interpretation, of course. And I just, feel that, I don't know, there's just other ways to go about it. On a personal note, Kevin, I just wanted to say, I listened to you, and it seems like the more the left has got left, the more the right goes right, and vice versa. It's like we feel like we're attacked, so we retreat and dig in even more. And I've noticed that with you. It seems like, and I mean this as no criticism, but I humbly just mean it seems like you used to be a little more balanced, and now it seems like you're just rigid as far as straight to the right anymore. And I worry because the Bible says a house divided will fall. And I worry for this country because everybody's in their corners and we're divided, and it just makes me so worried. And I just caution everybody, just call a spade, a heart a heart. No matter what your party is, if you're Democrat, you're Republican, wrong is wrong, right is right. Listen to other people, have an open mind. Don't get so stuck in your corners that you can't use reason. I just urge everybody to just open their minds and stop being so closed-minded. And it's a natural reaction when you get attacked. You dig in, but I just caution everybody to keep from that.
Well, Michelle, we appreciate you observing that and urging me to keep myself in check. Thank you.
Please, Kevin, I admire you. And in the beginning, when I started listening to you, you seemed more reasonable, more open-minded, and I mean that as no criticism. But it just seems like you've just gone so, and it's natural. When people attack, you just dig in. I'm right, you're wrong, but nobody's really 100% right, and nobody's 100% wrong. We're all, anyways. Thank you for listening.
Well, thank you, Michelle. You have a great day.
Thank you. You too.
All right. Bye-bye. 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Coming up, we'll get to Brian and Nampa, Greg and Caldwell, and you as well. Don't forget KIDO Talk Radio is your home for Fox News on the radio and the KIDO Talk Radio newsletter available now. It's free. We send it to you twice a week. Some of the great local stories, national stories you're not going to hear or see anywhere else. Right, available, and it's free on KIDOTalkRadio.com. Kevin Miller with you. We're just rolling. Thank you all for joining us. More next. Good morning.